What do you do with those children once they're born into a bad household?
So now we've transitioned to, like, what do you do with the kids?
Right.
Glad we're past the other part of the argument, okay? What do you do with them? You know there's twice as many people on the adoption waiting list than there are abortions every single year?
And they're still on the list. So you want to send a child into an orphanage?
Well,
is that what you want for a child? Is that a good life for a child?
No, I'm not advocating that. In fact, I'm advocating to make it easier to be able to adopt, number one. Number two, there's no such thing as an unwanted child. Number three, it is never right to justify the mass elimination or termination of people under the guise of saying they're unwanted. That's how we get Auschwitz. That's how we get the greatest horrors of the 20th century. Those people are unwanted.
So you're comparing abortion to the Holocaust?
Absolutely, I am. In fact, it's worse. It's worse.
Hey, my love. So you're welcome back to my channel. It's your girl, BB Hair First, and I'm back again for another reaction video. So I bring to you Charlie Kirk, and the title of this one is Charlie Kirk, greatest debate yet defending the unborns. I repeat, Charlie Kirk, greatest debate yet defending the unborns. I can't wait for us to watch this. This is gonna be a heated one. It's gonna be a banger, right? So without further ado, without wasting much of our time, let's get right into this video.
I have another question.
Okay.
So how many phases are in the menstrual cycle? Do you know?
Well, I'm not a woman, so enlighten me.
So there's 4 stages of the menstrual cycle, okay? Ovulation, follicular, I'm going to go in order. Menstruation, follicular, ovulation, and the luteal phase. During which of those phases can a woman be pregnant? When can she get pregnant? Which of those phases?
Ovulation.
Ovulation.
And luteal, yes. So I already know the answer to this question.
Yeah.
So I know the answer to this question. Have you ever had a menstrual cycle before?
He's
No.
a man.
Okay, great. So knowing that, and you just saying, I don't know the phases of the menstrual cycle, which I don't blame you for being, you don't have that. So then, knowing this, you don't know everything about the female reproductive system, how are you going to make legislation to hurt women and women's rights?
Are men allowed to have opinions on abortion?
You can have opinions on abortion, but what I'm saying is, how are these men going to create this legislation?
Got it. So, well, men are allowed to have opinion on moral matters too, right?
Right.
Got it. So if I was a male OBGYN, is it okay for that person to make issues of legislation?
Well, they're educated. They understand. They are educated on the female reproductive system, so they can.
So if I don't know everything intimately about the female reproductive system, sit down and shut up, you're a man.
No, that's not what I'm saying. You can have an opinion.
That's kind of what
It's
you're
all
saying.
right if you have an opinion. I'm saying it's not all right if you don't understand how the female reproductive system works.
Okay, let's pop quiz. When does heartbeats begin for babies in utero?
Have you ever eaten an egg before? That's yes or no. Have you ever eaten an egg before?
Scrambled, yeah.
Okay, so would that be you scrambled a full chicken?
Well, hold on. You understand that it takes an egg to be fertilized?
Right. Uh-huh.
Yeah,
but
uh-huh.
Your point,
So-
the whole
so-
point you're making
Well,
is
hold on.
that
So,
a
but no,
baby...
since we're doing pop quiz on like human development, so when exactly do heart waves begin in utero?
You know that, but you don't know the 4
Hold on, no,
cycles.
so tell me when heartbeat.
I don't know.
Okay, you don't know.
No.
So wait, hold on. So you're trying to say I know more about the woman reproductive system than you do?
I am a woman, so yes.
Yes. Okay. Well, but the point being is we could both go back and forth of like independent trivial facts when it comes to the woman's reproductive system. But here's something we all know, because God wrote this on the human heart of every individual, as it says in the book of Romans. We know deep down it's wrong to murder a baby.
You're not murdering a baby. It's not a baby.
Okay, well let's play this out. What is it then?
It is an embryo, which is not a baby.
Well, okay,
It's
so
developing.
it's a fertilized embryo.
Correct, which
right.
is not a baby.
So at what point does it become a baby?
When it is born.
Oh,
Wow.
I don't agree with abortions up to full-term
Wow.
abortions.
well, hold on, but you said it becomes a baby when it's born.
Yes.
Then why would you have abortion limits before it's born? I thought it's just an embryo. So embryo rights?
No, the embryo rights aren't a
But
thing.
then
because it's not
where
a
would you
person.
draw a line for abortion then, and why, and under what moral standard?
There are medical reasons not to have an abortion
No,
for
that's not the
full-term.
question. That's not
Yes,
the
it is.
question.
You just asked me why would I not have an abortion full-term for medical reasons.
Okay, so at 29 weeks, the baby is nearly fully developed, can recognize the mother's voice, has a heartbeat, has brain waves. Is it okay to abort that baby?
I don't, it's not okay, but you're going to say it's okay to have an abortion then Like, I don't understand what you're trying to say. It's not okay to have an abortion ever? How about like 3 weeks in?
Correct. No abortion. Correct.
Why?
Well, because your life started at conception.
It did not, though. It did not.
Well, hold on. So let's play this out. So who are you as an individual? From your skin color to your eye color,
your
to
DNA,
your likes, your dislikes, from your temperament to your everything.
I am not an embryo. I'm a person.
Hold on a second. But it started with something called deoxyribonucleic acid. And your own individual DNA started at the point of egg and sperm meeting. That's where your journey started. And so from that point in particular, life begins. Not at birth, not at first words, not at first steps, but when your DNA, which is who you actually are. You are your DNA. Every one of your DNA cells is coded XX or XY. It's coded with all of your unique characteristics and attributes that we believe God individually curated for the rest of your life. That doesn't happen at 8 weeks or 10 weeks. It happens at conception.
What happens if you need a medical abortion? If the mother will die if she does not get an abortion? What's your stance on that?
The only place where medical abortion is necessary is before 20 weeks, which is incredibly rare.
What if she will die? What if the mother will die?
Hold on a second. So let's take, for example, this is a very important question. Let's say it's 27 weeks, okay? And the mother will die. Why shouldn't, you could agree, why don't we just have the baby delivered by cesarean section? You know what a cesarean section is, right?
Yes.
What is a cesarean section?
A C-section?
Yeah, why wouldn't we just put the baby out by C-section instead of terminating it?
Because if the mother will die, it's not safe to do that.
You remove the baby.
I understand.
Threat removed.
I know what a C-section is.
But it's actually safer than an abortion. So every time they say, this is for you guys, they say, oh, you need to have abortion for medical reasons. Respond, then have a C-section.
What if you're not able to have a C-section? What if you are on your deathbed, you need to have an abortion right now?
Well, again, but...
And it's illegal. You can't, so you have to die.
First and foremost, C-section is safer, C-section is quicker, and a C-section saves both lives. A C-section
The baby is already dead, you just said.
No, but even... No. Hold on a second. You're saying if the baby's already dead, then it isn't even an abortion. Right? Then you're talking about a removal of a carcass, which is a completely different medical operation.
So you're saying that's okay if you're having...
If you're hold on. If you're removing a carcass of a baby, that is not an abortion. By definition.
Same process.
No, it's completely different. During an abortion, they actually inject the spinal fluid with cyanide poisoning as the baby squirms and tries to find its mother, and it is gasping for air of life. Have you ever watched an abortion? It is
Have
one
you?
of the... Yeah, actually I have. And I encourage every human being to watch one to know what you are fighting against. Because when you see abortion, you will have your life will be changed. That we allow the massacre of 1.5 million babies a year under the guise of woman reproductive health. What do Andrea Bocelli, Steph Curry, Justin Bieber, and Tim Tebow have in common? All of their mothers were encouraged to end their pregnancies. When a woman faces an unplanned pregnancy, she is often pressured to end her child's life. She wants to make the right choice, but society and those around her are telling her that her baby is not a life. That's where the Ministry of Preborn steps in. Preborn and their network of clinics offers compassionate, loving care to mothers and the support they need to help them choose life, including a free ultrasound. Once a mother hears their child's beautiful heartbeat, she is twice as likely to choose life. If you consider yourself pro-life, it's time to join forces with Preborn. I'm a donor and you should be too. Together we can empower women to choose life, empower the truth of motherhood, transforms families and futures. One ultrasound is just $28 and a $140 gift will help to rescue 5 babies. When you donate monthly, you'll receive stories and pictures of lives you helped to save. Please dial pound 250 and say the keyword baby. That's pound 250 baby, or visit preborn.com/Charlie. That is preborn.com/Charlie, sponsored by Preborn. We are allowing babies every single year to just say, we're going to discard them. Why? Oh, they're smaller. They're not humans. You're using dehumanizing language saying, oh, it's an embryo. No, that's a baby made in the image of God, deserving of protection.
True.
What do you do with those children once they're born into a bad household?
So now we've transitioned to, what do you do with the kids?
Right.
Glad we're past the other part of the argument, okay? What do you do with them? There's twice as many people on the adoption waiting list than there are abortions every single year.
And they're still on the list. So you want to send a child into an orphanage? Is that what you want for a child? Is that a good life for a child?
No, I'm not advocating that. In fact, I'm advocating to make it easier to be able to adopt, number one. Number two, there's no such thing as an unwanted child. Number three, it is never right to justify the mass elimination or termination of people under the guise of saying they're unwanted. That's how we get Auschwitz. That's how we get the greatest horrors of the 20th century. Those people are unwanted.
So you're comparing abortion to the Holocaust?
Absolutely, I am. In fact, it's worse. It's worse.
It's really not. I don't
It's
think
45 million babies.
Yeah.
It's
true.
nearly 8 times worse
True.
than the Holocaust.
The Holocaust.
What's
True.
the moral difference between a small baby in the womb and a grown Jew who was killed at Auschwitz? What's the moral difference? One
of
is
them
older?
is a person.
What
What?
species is the baby in the womb?
It's a human.
Homo
But it's
Therefore,
an
they should have
embryo.
human rights.
No,
They should
She
have
does
human
prove it.
rights.
She does
I
say
do
it.
not agree.
Oh, so
does say
small
it.
humans, no human rights. Grown humans,
It's
human
not a
rights.
small human. It's an embryo.
You just said it was a
said
human
it's
species.
It's not a
It
living
doesn't-
human child.
Wait, it's not a what?
It's not a child.
But-
it's not a living child.
It has a heartbeat. It has
that
brain
does not
waves.
make it a child.
It's a
But-
child.
Tell me when it becomes
She's
a
making a
child.
fool of
then.
herself.
When it, I already told you when it is born.
Again, so under every other objective definition, you see, guys, how quickly the pro-abortion arguments fall apart with just the slightest questioning. But our position is one rooted not in feelings, not in personal autonomy, but one in biological consistency and reality. That your life had an agreed upon starting point, that starting point should be protected and preserved. And the excuses given for abortion is dehumanization. Oh, it's just an embryo. Guys, that's just using different language to justify the massacre of something smaller than you. That's all
True.
that it is. So here are the big objections. Size. It's smaller than me, then I should be able to get rid of it. I'm 6'5". Should I be able to murder people smaller than me? Of course not. You don't believe that. Level of development. Oh, it's not as progressed as, this is your argument. It's not as progressed as we are, therefore we have rights over it. So my 10-month-old baby, why should I not be able to eliminate my 10-month-old baby?
I have another question for you. On the line of this, you will never be able to have an abortion, right? You will never be able to have an abortion. You will not, okay? That's a fact. Everyone knows that, okay? I'm not debating that at all.
Okay, make it quick. You can tell the audience is, yeah, but go, yeah.
If I were to be pregnant right now and forced to have a baby, that would ruin my life.
This is an important question. Hold on. Time out. So rape and incest are less than half of 1% of all abortions.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking if I just happen to be pregnant.
Oh, well, you don't happen to get pregnant. It's not like getting COVID.
I know how
okay?
it works.
That's
I know how it works.
You don't get the flu.
I know.
How about
But
this?
say
You
I got
take
pregnant.
responsibility for your orgasms and
What if
stop
that doesn't
eliminating
work?
people smaller than you.
Thank you.
So you're saying I should carry a baby and ruin my collegiate life?
How about this? Instead of saying ruin, first of all, babies are a blessing. Stop talking at them as if they're some
Thank
sort
you.
of annoyance.
I will have to drop out of college.
Number two, if you play certain games, you win certain prizes. If you're going to go have sex...
So you're saying
you
I
might-
should drop out of college to support my child
I'm
and supporting my life?
I'm saying if you're going to engage in coitus, in the practice of having children, you might end up with a baby. So know that. And guess what? You don't need to have sex before you get married. It's not like showering. It's not like eating.
Are you married?
Yes, with two
Yes.
beautiful children.
Wow, good for you.
I could tell you're not married.
Yeah.
Thank you for your time.
All right, guys. So I've talked about abortion here on my channel, and I just think I've tried talking about it. But who am I to say I've tried when I have someone like Charlie that keeps advocating? That is the works of an advocate, an activist. You grab. So, like I will always say, you owe responsibility of every of your actions. Every of your actions, everything, every steps you make, you owe responsibility of it. You can't have something unprotected. I don't want to, you can do it unprotected, and then the results come out, you try to run away from your responsibilities. Who does that? I don't know. The mentality happening in America, the rate at which they embrace abortion is so high. I don't want to talk about UK. It's so high, and this has to stop. This really has to stop. You're not ready to father or mother a child and then do it the right way. There are a lot of things you can do to prevent. They have condoms, they have contraceptives, a lot you can do to prevent it. A lot. The medical way you can do to prevent it. And this shouldn't give room for immorality and fornication. I'm talking to the married persons. You guys, I don't want to linger more on this because I've said a lot concerning abortion on my channel. I've said a whole lot concerning abortion on my channel and it's freaking me out. I am not happy. I'm not happy to see people like this with this mentality. It's strange. Thank you so much for watching. I need your comments in the comment section below. Please, let's be very nice with our comments because of the YouTube community guidelines. And if you haven't subscribed, be sure to hit the subscribe button. Subscribe, give us a thumbs up. I love you so much and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.